Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Lee, Wall Street most amazing stock market predictor and analyst, has projected that the S&P 500 could even go way beyond 6,600 by the end of this year. So he made quite a few predictions, and I think it's important for us to watch on. And today there are quite a few very interesting happenings as well in the space of Donald Trump. So let's just watch on, shall we? So these are my usual disclaimers. Remember, hit subscribe as I try to update everybody on the latest happening, especially on my night live stream. And let's watch on. So Tom Lee from Fundstrat gave an interview to CNBC, and there were quite a lot of things he shared. And today I'm going to cover all this prediction. He's an amazing man that gave incredible predictions. And basically, he says that 6,700 points is the base case, and he thinks that there could be even more upside to 6,600 points by the end of this year for S&P 500. So basically, Tom Lee reiterates that 6,600 points is the way to go, and we are now in a bull market. He actually said this on 2nd of June, and guess what? We've now broken the S&P 500 record, and every day right now seems to be a new record. And I don't even think we need to wait until the end of the year to hit 6,600 points. So there could be more upside to the 6,600 target for 2025 for S&P 500. So let me give a summary of what he says, and you can watch the video. I'll try to put up the link somewhere. And number one, he says that the market is experiencing a most hated V-shaped rally. I must say that I also hate this rally, right? In one day, it turned around. Remember, one day, right? It's like I've seen, a few weeks, 1 month or something like that. One day turn around, I think that was a surprise, okay? So the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100 has closed at all new highs, and technology stocks are having the best quarter since Q2 2020. Now, it seems that right now the tariff war doesn't seem to be as bad as we expected, okay? And inflation, which was the biggest fear, is actually quite muted. We don't really have an inflationary environment, and the tariff war that everybody is so concerned with didn't turn out to be as bad. In fact, it came to my realization a few months ago that I told everybody that this is a tariff war to bring down other tariffs. So this is not the usual tariff war. So he also said that the bonds market suggests that the Federal Reserve could be more dovish, which is a tailwind for stocks. And his target remains at 6,608% from the closing on Friday. Incredibly, the US market is very strongly resilient, and I use this phrase, very tahanable, okay, against many shocks. And there are 5 shocks in the last 5 years. And despite all these shocks, the earnings continue to grow and suggest that the stock market could have a higher PE multiple, which means a higher valuation in time to come. So the 5 shocks that he mentions were, number one, the COVID shock, okay, which kind of shut down the whole world. And as a result, there was a supply chain shock as well. That means goods cannot be produced and things like that. Then 2 years later, there was an incredible inflation caused by the fastest printing of money, the Federal Reserve and all the global central banks that did. And also an insanely fast rise in the interest rate, okay? And as a result, the recent as a result of Donald Trump's coming on board and shocking the world with his tariff war. So these 5 shocks have brought the stock market down, and most of them rebounded quite strongly. Arguably, the one that lasted the longest was the inflation shock. Other than that, we see that the US market is incredibly, insanely resilient to shocks. Now, they also don't think that the debt situation is actually that bad. Okay, he actually thinks that there's hidden value in the U.S. Balance sheet. So he don't think that the U.S. debt crisis that everybody is so afraid of is really that big an issue. And he also talked about crypto and says that stable coins are expected to replace foreign holders of treasuries, potentially increasing dollar dominance. That means that the US dollar is right now having a flavor that there's this thing called de-dollarization. He thinks that with the emergence of stable coins in a crypto world, that could cause the US dollar to be strengthened again. That's quite interesting, right? So, and he don't think that the bonds market is that concerned about that sustainability, which is good. And he did express some concern that if there is a loss in confidence with the U.S. market, the bonds market could be affected. Now, he paid special attention to the current AI trend and says that if you draw an analogy to the dot-com bubble, it's not the same. And I agree with him. The current AI trend is not the same as the dot-com bubble. The internet boom created many web pages, and a lot of them are hot air. That was in the early 2000s. But the AI has practical, useful, productive usage, and it's already led to much increase in cost savings and even making money in my case. So AI is not just about selling to customers or giving free services. It's about tangible benefit, according to him. And ChatGPT is an example of AI's magic and its remarkable experience. Unlike the early days of internet, where it was leading to nowhere. So you cannot draw a parallel between AI and .com. Okay, it's not the same, and I truly agree with him in that. So I've started writing on the AI. I started two companies on artificial intelligence. I'm already an old, late user of it. I hope that one day I can find the time to run certain courses for you guys to get everybody level up on AI. But anyway, that'll be a talk for another day. So the societal impact of artificial intelligence is significant because there will be significant distributional consequences, meaning that a lot of the human workers, okay, will be replaced by AI. And who are the people that will survive this? These were people that harness AI, which is more important that I quickly harness this for myself and make sure that everyone in our community get embrace this. One AI CEO suggested that unemployment could rise from 4.2% to 20%. And I don't think it'll be as bad, but I think, AI is definitely going to increase unemployment. And if everybody still don't embrace AI, I think it's a big issue. Then it raised the question about purpose of wages and definite achievement, okay? And a positive outcome could be a focus on the betterment of society. Now, with AI, let's hope that we don't see events such like a Terminator and Skynet, but AI definitely has improved quality of life and things like that, and it could lead to a lower retirement age and eliminate food shortages if robots can produce food as well. Now, having a digression, Donald Trump right now says that he doesn't plan to extend the tariff pause and would rather do this now. So 9th of July is his deadline. He doesn't want to extend his tariff pause. By the way, we got to take that with a pinch of salt as well, because he's a man who always flip-flop. So don't take him overly seriously, right? He said, I'm just going to send letters and that will be end of a trade deal. And by the way, there's a negotiation leverage negotiation tactic as well. So Donald Trump indicated he's not planning to extend the 90-day pause on tariffs, okay, beyond the 9th of July deadline. So he said that instead of extending a deadline, his administration rather send countries a letter and just laying down the trade penalties that you will face unless they make deals with US. And he says, I don't think I need to because I could. There is no big deal, okay? And he clarified that on the 9th of July deadline, he said, I'm going to send letters and that will be end of the trade deal. So on this particular point, it is a stock market risk and also a potential economic risk for many countries as well. So this one we gotta be prepared for a surprise or a shock. Okay, I don't know what the outcome will be. I think that for Singapore, we probably cannot 10%. I think Malaysia has a chance of getting a higher tariff. And I think that a lot of countries that cannot catch up with US will be in some kind of trouble. But again, right, he flip-flops it, so it's hard to say what the outcome will be. So as for Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill, it is still going on, the negotiations with the Senate, and they are still voting, and they're making amendments so that the bill will be passed. I think it will be passed, okay? The outcome, I don't know. But if this thing get passed, it could turn out to be a very big thing for US companies and even the stock market. So the US Senate Republicans are trying to pass President Donald Trump's sweeping tariff cuts and spending bills, despite division within the party to his expected $5 trillion hit to a nation debt pile. Okay, so right now they are voting in a marathon session called Voterama. representing a series of amendments by Republicans and the minority Democrats as part of the arcane process Republicans are using to bypass Senate rules, which requires 60 of the chamber's 100 members to agree on legislation. But roughly after 12 hours, it's still not sure how long the voting will last. And we're still waiting for outcome. Maybe by end of today, we'll see some outcome. But this outcome could potentially determine how the stock market will go, the economy will go. So I'll try to inform everybody about this. This is a big event, okay? So my view out of the whole thing is this, that the US stock market is strongly bullish. And it has been proven again and again and again that the US economy is insanely resilient to shocks. Okay, insanely resilient to shocks. Now, there's a lot of people that like to run down US economy, run down US and things like that. I'll just say this, that US market has survived through in incredibly tough times, and they still go from strength to strength to strength. I've been to US many times. I've stayed in US for my masters, and I've engaged a lot of businesses in US as well. I used to have an office in US which I visit almost every 2 months or things like that. The amazing innovativeness of the economy, the resilience of the people, the attractiveness of US towards the global rich and capable and innovative. There's no other country in the world that can do that. So that's a reason why I still continue to be bullish about the US. But will there be volatility? I'm sure there will be, okay? So our trade war risk is still there, and it's a big risk as well, right? But it causes volatility that over time I think will recover. And the outcome of the Donald Trump Big Beautiful Bill is still unknown, okay? So I think that in the short to midterm, the market is still likely to be very bullishly volatile. That means go up and down and down and down, down a lot. Now, the 6,600 points that Tom Lee and also a lot of analysts predict is probably likely to come to pass soon, okay? If the trade war turns out benign and then Donald Trump's bill get passed. So hit subscribe for a timely update. I'll try to live tonight, if my computer don't fail me. Really exciting things that will happen. So stand by around 11 p.m. as I go live, okay? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tonight. Bye-bye.